The sky is black. Not dark, I should say, but black. The street lamps flicker red by the road at the end of the drive. The trees bend and sway, disturbed by the force of the wind beyond the windows. I draw the curtains closed and retreat into the house. I intend to keep them that way for the next 12 hours. I cannot risk anything or anyone seeing me inside. I hunker down at the bottom of the stairs, about 8 or so feet from the door. I pick up the script to my left and shaking hands, reading it through for the 10th or 11th time this evening. I have to be ready. I have to know exactly what to say. A quick glance up at the clock near the ceiling to my left shows me the minute hand is ticking slowly but steadily towards 9 p.m. It's nearly time. My heart pounds deliriously. I'm the only one in the house right now. My roommates all managed to secure transport home to spend the night with their families. I wasn't so lucky. I was relying on my car, you see, but a punctured tire and an idiotic lack of a spare saw me stranded here. There were no bus tickets left, no trains. So it'll just be me this year, by myself in the house, alone. The ticks of the clock seem to be growing louder. They rise up above the wail of the wind through the walls. I look around the house from my position by the stairs. I think I'm sufficiently prepared. As prepared as I can be. All the curtains are drawn. All the lights are off. I have a small supply of food and water to my right. I have a bowl full to the brim with salt to my left, and I have the script. I have the script. The minute hand passes the 12. 9 p.m., October 31st. Halloween night has begun. My stomach lurches in distress. Don't panic, Curtis. Don't panic. You've survived the night before, and you can do so again. Tick, tick, tick. The wind ebbs and flows like a tide. The distorted red light from the street lamps flicker through the fabric of the curtains in the living room to my right. But my gaze remains firmly on the door directly in front. My fingers clench and unclench. Maybe I'll be lucky, I think to myself, swallowing. Maybe no one will come for me tonight. And this belief grows in strength for 25 whole minutes. My confidence builds, and my courage too, along with it. And then comes the knock. My resolve shatters, and I'm beset by a flood of icy terror. Curtis, don't panic. You can do this. My breath becomes shallower, louder too, it seems, though. I'm sure my ears are deceiving me. I stay silent. And the knock comes again. I must have read through the script 100 times, but in this moment of panic, I find I'm struggling to think. I cannot remember what it is I should do. I glance down at the paper between my legs. I scan my eyes across the first few lines. Yes, there it is. Oh, okay. I'll stay silent. I knew that. I knew that. For now, I'll stay silent. The knock comes a third time. Louder, more insistent. What is it about the noise of a knock on the door that so rustles the human constitution? Is it that such a noise demands a response? An acknowledgement? That by failing to do so, we are breaking some old and ingrained tradition, an ancient and perhaps powerful rule? Sweat leaks down my neck, and I pray. I pray in silence that this third knock will be the last, that there will not be a fourth. I feel the urge to read through the script again, but I cannot take my eyes from the door. The clock ticks, and the knock comes again. Fuck. Okay. It's okay. You know what to do. You know what to do. I take a deep breath. I try to calm my shaking. I don't want there to be any fear in my voice. I know the line. I know the line. Before I can psych myself out, I speak. The words sound abrasive and dangerous in the relative quiet of the house, but they must be spoken. The knock came 4 times, and the words must be spoken. What can this house offer you this night of nights? I begin, lips cracked and dry. Tell us, please, O friend of friends and fright of frights. My pulse races. My heart beats like a hammer in the ensuing quiet. A beat passes. Then another. And the voice of a young boy from behind the door responds. Trick or treat, he says in a tone sharp and impatient. It cuts through the rush of the wind like a knife. I recite the next line. No treats in this shadowed house to find, so spare your tricks, O stranger kind. I swallow again. My throat is uncomfortably dry. I shoot a glance to the water bottle beside me. I daren't pick it up. Not now. I can't risk making any unnecessary sounds. I just can't. There's another tense pause, like a frayed rope. I can feel the threads snapping one by one. And the knock resumes. It is constant now, loud and rhythmic. Knock, 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 knock. It's okay. It's okay. It's on the script. It'll only knock 10 times. That'll be it. You'll see. 10 times, and then you'll be safe. Knock, 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 knock. Please, please, leave me alone. Please. Knock, knock. And the sound ceases. A minute goes by, and then another. And I allow myself to breathe. I grab the water and unscrew the lid, raising it to my lips in a shaking hand as I thirstily swallow it down. Jesus Christ. I sit shivering in the darkness for another hour. Just 10 and a half more to go. The minutes tick painfully by. The anticipation, in some ways, is worse than the knocking itself. The knowledge that it could come at any moment, any second, including the one I'm dwelling in right now. And sure enough, it returns. The knocking. My focus is once again primed as my body tenses in response. I wait, sitting in silence as the script demands. The knocking comes again. Then, for a third time, my chest rises and falls, and as with before, the knocking sounds for a fourth and terrible time. I speak the line. What can this house offer you this night of nights? Tell us, please, O friend of friends and fright of frights. A girl's voice responds this time, and there's no pause. Her words come at once. Trick or treat, sharp and agitated. I reply, no treats in this shadowed house to find, so spare your tricks, O stranger kind. A deep and angry hissing begins behind the door. It rises sharply in volume. Goosebumps shiver up my skin in distress, but I stay put. I stay exactly where I am, and I keep my mouth tight shut. My eyes, however, are wide, drinking in as much of the faint and feeble red light that shines through the curtains as possible. The front door stands shrouded in gloom, and the hissing rises. It rises and rises all around me, climbing to a peak, and then it's gone. The sound drifts away on the wind. There's no more knocking. I sit desperately in the quiet dark for another hour. I hate this. I hate being alone. I can't believe I was so foolish. Would any of my roommates have allowed me to have gone home with them if I'd asked? But you didn't know about the flat tire back then, did you, Curtis? Mike has a car back at his parents' place. I bet he would have come back for me. It would have been cutting it fine, but I bet he still would have come if I'd asked. It's too late now, though. Or is it? Because in that moment, I hear his voice. It's loud and close, and it shocks me back awake, but it's him, all right. He raps hastily on the door. "Curtis! You in there, man? Let me in! Quick! Fucking let me in already!" There's a little window by the side of the front door. It's covered by the curtain and glows in the faint red from the light from the street lamps. I see Mike's silhouette appear through it as a shadow. He appears to cup his hand over his eyes to try and see through. He taps on the glass. "Curtis? Mike?" I clamber to my feet. "What are you doing here, man? I thought... What happened to your bus?" "Fucking came back for you, didn't I? But quick, man. Fucking let me in already and let's get the hell out of here." I step towards the door. But it's not safe. How did you make it here, Mike?" There's a pause, and a deep and sudden dread begins to work its way through me. With every step I take towards the door, I feel heavier and heavier. Mike does not respond. He raps on the door again, loud and desperate. But his shadow, I can still see his shadow. I can see his silhouette through the curtain. And the shadows of both his hands are still clearly visible. Yet the knocking comes again. Oh no. My stomach drops. In my panic, I race to the living room. I peel back the curtain, just a fraction, just enough for a single eye to look around to my front door. There's no one there. Just a cluster of leaves caught in the air that blow away on a breeze. Movement catches my eye, and I look to the right. The trees groan under the duress of the wind, illuminated and highlighted in red. Beneath the furthest flickering street lamp, the one at the end of the street, a dark tide of formless void has begun to spill its way from the shadows and blow like smoke along the road towards the house. I stagger back and away from the window and crash down onto my spot by the stairs, gasping in terror. I fucked it. I fucked it. I fucked it. I fucked it. I grab the script in shaking hands. The situation is too specific. There's nothing in here that tells me what to do. They're coming, Curtis. My eyes dart from left to right, up and down, and the knocking comes again. It keeps coming. It does not stop with the 4th or the 10th knock. But I answered the first, didn't I? At the heart of it, that's what I've done. Trickery aside, a knock came on the door, and I failed to answer with the appropriate lines. And then you opened the curtains too. Curtis, you fucking moron. I put my hands to my head in panic. I suppress a desperate scream. My eyes shoot right. A myriad of shadowy shapes breeze past the curtains outside. Another series of knocks reverberates through the door. A different pattern alongside the first. And they keep coming. More knocking. Trick or treat! Come the voices, a series of long, slow whispers. The door shakes. I try to respond, but my confidence, false as it was, has entirely evaporated now. My voice is trembling and rich with fear. What? What can this house offer you this night of nights? Tell me, please, oh friend of friends, and fright of frights. That's not right, is it, Curtis? It's tell us, please, not tell me, please. My stomach lurches, and I struggle to hold down a throatful of vomit. It's only right to share, come the voices. Lies make us cry, Curtis. The door creaks and cracks. The wind howls. I watch in horror as the door handle starts falling apart in front of my eyes. The knocking grows louder and louder. I watch as little pieces of metal fall from the keyhole. I watch as the handle is knocked looser and looser with every second that goes by. I cannot believe it has come to this. I shoot a glance up at the clock. 12:01 a.m. 1 minute past midnight. It's barely been 3 hours. How could I have gone so wrong so quickly? But I have one final chance. The last ditch resort. The nuclear option. I grab the script and scan the final lines. I can't afford to make any more stupid mistakes. Not now. Beyond the page and out of focus, I see the door start to crack at the edges. Red street light starts to spill into the house. You need to share, Curtis. Come the voices, louder now. I grab the bowl of salt, my hands shaking violently as I spill its contents all around me in a rough circle, being careful to ensure that there are no gaps and no break in the white. I complete the circle and put the bowl between my legs, grabbing hold of the script and grasping it tightly in my hands. I risk one final look at the door as the knocking reaches a terrible crescendo, and I screw my eyes tight shut. 3 hours down, 9 to go. Just have to make it to 9 a.m. That's all. That's all. And my ears are met with the sound of splintering wood, the sounds of 100 footsteps, like running children surround me. My hair is blown back from my face as the wind is forced into the house. I want to look. I want to peek so badly to see exactly what it is that has enclosed me, but I do not. I resist.
Are you going to share now, Curtis?
The voices ask.
Please don't make us hurt you. We don't want to hurt you, Curtis. You need to share.
They're so close to me. I can feel them. I can feel their cold breath with the bursts of wind. My eyelids are shut tight, but the levels of low red light behind them shimmer and change. The hairs on my arms stand up on end when they get too close, but they don't touch me. So I try my hardest. I ignore their whispers and their bouts of tears and their occasional screams, piercing as they are. I ignore them when they beg and they plead to me in voices of my friends and family to help them. I ignore them when they promise that they'll leave me alone if I just indulge them for a second or two. I cannot afford any more slip-ups. Not a single one. So I grit my teeth. I focus on the sounds of the ticking clock, and I suffer through the longest night of my life. My thirst and my hunger grow more pressing as the hours creep by, but I ignore them too. I stay motionless in that circle of salt for the entire time, the rest of the remaining night. Hour after hour after hour. Please, I think to them. To myself, desperately, bitterly. Please, let me survive this night. Let me make it to tomorrow. Please. The clock ticks, and slowly, gradually, the red glow of the street lamps that flickers beyond my eyelids is replaced with the faint and familiar light of the pale dawn. Slowly, but surely, and steadily, the whispering dies away. The wind fades. I brace myself to endure one final scream, one last desperate push or plea from the voices. But nothing comes. The wind stops entirely, and the day grows brighter and brighter. And I listen in silence to the pounding of my heart and the ticking of the clock. Tick, tick, tick. A bird sings somewhere off in the distance. It's high and friendly. A small chorus joins in. Cautiously, carefully, I open an eye. The light, faint as it is dazzling after an entire night of darkness, and I wince, lifting a hand to shield my eyes from the glare from the window, even through the curtains. The door in front of me is completely intact, shut tight. No cracks, no damage. I cannot see any pieces missing from the handle or the lock. I look around me. There's no evidence at all that anything has been in here with me. Nothing at all. I allow myself a deep and shuddering breath. I let out a sob, and I clamber awkwardly to my feet. My joints crack and my muscles ache. I run a hand through my greasy hair. "You're one lucky bastard, Curtis," I whispered to myself. "And an idiot. You can never let this happen again, you hear me? Never again." But I made it. I actually made it. The full 12 hours, I think to myself. Wait till your family hears about what you went through last night. I shoot a quick glance up at the clock as I step from the circle of salt on the floor beyond. And for a moment, it seems my heart stops dead. 8:55 a.m., the clock reads. 8:55 a.m.? My foot comes down and presses against the wood of the floorboards, just outside the circle, and the sounds of the birds outside disappear at once. And I feel a hand on my shoulder. "Trick or treat," whispers a voice in my ear.
Hello everyone, and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, please leave a like and let others know where to find us. There's also a link to other works by the author in the description if you'd like to check them out. If you have any story suggestions, please leave them in the comments below or send us an email in the description. If you don't know what to comment, write, "There's no word for the word I want to say," and I hope to see you in the next one.